Alright guys, so when it comes to training your core, it starts with breathing. And I know what you're thinking, hey, I've been breathing my entire life, right? Well, it's something that we do 20,000 times a day, and so many people get it wrong because they're just taught wrong or they just never really think about it. So when it comes to breathing, we want to start with our diaphragm. We want to make sure our diaphragm is working and we're not just inhaling through our chest. So right now I'm going to get on the ground because I always like to start breathing on the ground because it creates stability, and that's easy for us to learn because the more body parts that are connected to the ground, the more stable we feel, the more comfortable we feel, and then we can perform our breathing exercises.
So I always like to start with something behind my head, whether it be a towel or a mat or a pad or something like that. That way it keeps my head in neutral position rather than being extended up here. So when it comes to breathing, we're going to come here, and I'm going to just perform 2 breaths incorrectly. Now if you see with that, my stomach really didn't raise much, right? All the air came into my chest, my ribs flared, and my lower back was really arched, right? That's the poor position to be in. You cannot contract your core when you're like that because you just can't flex your abs, right? So you want to be stacked position. So if our ribs are here flared and our pelvis is down, just like I was in that poor position, I can't squeeze my abs. But if I can get my ribs to come down and my pelvis to come up, now I'm in a stacked neutral position, and now I can really engage my core, so that's where we want to be. So how do we get there? I'm going to show you guys 2 breaths how to breathe properly. So we're going to start in our same position. So if you saw with those 2 breaths, my breath started in my diaphragm. You saw my belly raise before my chest raised, right? So that's the way you want to do it. It's got to be like in a wave-like. So it starts with the belly, then it rises up to the chest. But it's got to raise first. So an easy way to do it is place one hand on your diaphragm or your stomach and one hand right here on your chest. And you can feel, or if you're recording yourself, you can see which hand raises first. And that's how you can guide to see whether you're using your diaphragm or not. So, as an example, good, so that's how you breathe properly. Once you can master that on the ground, then eventually you want to obviously be able to do that when you're in a standing position. Now, what I also want to touch on is the exhalation. That's arguably one of the most important because that's really what's going to set your ribs down and get you in that neutral position. So when I exhale, you can see that my ribs rotate, they push all the way down, and my back flattens, right? So that way I'm in that optimal position that I was talking about. So I'll do one more breath here. Put my hands on my ribs and push them down. And you can see towards the end of that breath, I actually lost air, right? I was really exhaling everything that I had to be able to pull my ribs down, and I can feel my core turn on. And that's the optimal position that you want to be in before you're performing any type of core exercise. Otherwise, you won't get the full effect. So, lastly, an easy drill you can do on a daily basis, several times a day actually if you want, is a breathing drill. When you inhale 5 seconds, you hold at the top for 5 seconds, you exhale for 5 seconds, and then you hold at the bottom for 5 seconds. So this is what it would look like. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. And that would be 1 rep. So if you did something like 5 to 10 reps of that several times a day, that would greatly improve your breathing.